Revoked. There's a bunch of other little smaller topics, so we're just kind of jump around and, you know, whatever I sink my teeth and pause. That's substantial. We'll kind of go with that. All right, let's keep it fun. Let's keep it light. I hope I could give you the entertainment you deserve tonight. Also, what was I gonna say? Forgot. All right. Anyway, cool. So we should probably start with some. You know what I didn't realize you guys would appreciate? Didn't realize you guys would appreciate when I broke down the whole Atlantic situation and how that relates to capital and how basically like shit is moving. Atlantic is about to come back, and I've been shitting on them for the last year or two because they've been trashed because they've been keeping the money in the pockets rather than investing in the artists. However, they have now made moves. We're gonna see some executives move, plays getting done as well. You see, Lucian Grange's son, Elliot Grange, he's now the CEO. Again, just working his way up that ladder. And if we talk about nepotism, I'm not saying Bronny James isn't trash at basketball, but nepotism definitely exists in most corporate structures and most entities where the CEO also is the chairman of the board and also has heavily incentivized, you know, stock options within that company. And even if he loses, or even if he retires, he would like for power to go within the family. You know what I mean? Again, you know, it's this dream when you could turn whatever business, whether it's your own independent business or one that you kind of run, into a family business. Okay. So I was actually impressed that you guys really enjoyed that. I do have a little bit more about that coming because we finally hit like this point. It's an inflection point, right? So I'll actually put this up on the screen. We'll start slow today. So basically, there was a quarterly update, right? And essentially, in a quarterly update for Universal Music Group, remember this is the biggest. Remember, there's three big music companies that everything fall under, right? Universal Music Group, that's where you get Republic, that's where you get like the Drakes, the Taylor Swifts, all of them, and a shit ton of other labels, right? Even Capitol. You get Sony Music Entertainment, that's where you're going to get Epic Records and a bunch of others, okay? I'm keeping it on the hip-hop side that you guys can recognize the labels. And then we get to, like, for example, what else? What's the last one? Warner, and that's where we get Atlantic, 300, and a few others, okay? Now, what happened is that Universal Music Group, they're actually publicly traded, and what happened is they gave a quarterly report to their investors. And essentially what they admitted for the very first time is that they believe that streaming has capped out. And this is very important, so stay with the story. Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, Pandora was in the mix. I don't know where they're at these days. They started off on a race to get millions of subscribers once they realized that the music industry pretty much acknowledged their failure in preventing piracy. So they couldn't stop people from illegally downloading peer-to-peer software. And because that was the case, essentially, the music industry, they had to look to the tech industry. And the tech industry is, as much as you think of Spotify as a music company, it's a tech company. So they came with a solution to say, yo, if people ain't buying the music anymore because they could get it for free, we all know the saying, why buy the cow if you could get the milk for free? How about we give them a deal they won't even blink about paying for? We'll give them every music that they don't technically own, but they could stream it on demand. Let them pay like $10 a month. We'll treat it like the streaming model, which, by the way, the streaming model is also adopted by Netflix and others. Great. Sounds great. It was basically bringing free money, and the music business was realizing that they were losing so much money they need to make a change. Okay. Every year, streaming has been going good. And I'm going to make this a short story. I'm not going to make it too long. Now, the point of this whole story is every single year, Spotify would report, yo, we just gained 50 million more people who are listening. So the way how rappers or your favorite artists and labels make money through streaming is this. Remember, you're only paying 10. Actually, I just looked at my bill. Spotify charged, how much they charge me? I think Netflix charged me 20. Yeah, Netflix been going crazy. I got to check that. Anyway, let's say you pay $15 for Spotify, right? The way how labels get paid from that is that they pool all of the subscription models. Because remember, you can't buy music on Spotify. You can't, well, Apple Music, they have the iTunes, so you can buy music technically. But let's just only talk about streaming. So Apple Music streaming, Spotify streaming, Amazon Music, not purchase, streaming. We're only talking about streaming. And I'm going to tell you why eventually, and this is a big deal. So essentially, every year, the music industry is trying to make more money. It's like any other business. Like Tesla's trying to make more cars next year. Apple's making more iPhones. Everybody wants to get more, right? These days, people have 5 phones. Like they want to we're bringing the iPhone to fucking Sri Lanka. Like that's how Apple keeps growing. That's how their stock price keeps going. That's why and after they realize the slowdown with the phones, first of all, they'll announce a new phone. Then they'll be like, hey, we're coming out with Apple cars. And then we're coming out with AirPods. Like, they'll keep making products to keep increasing revenue. It's all about revenue. Again, with Spotify and most streaming platforms, the only way they get revenue is from subscriptions. So you're paying your $15 a month. Now, they get to increase revenue if they keep adding new subscribers. So there was a year they were all competing and they were all announcing, yo, we just hit 30 million paid subscribers. And then the other company came out, we hit 45. And what's happened is that all that has slowed. And Universal Music Group, Apple doesn't share their data at all. Apple never shares data, okay? Spotify used to announce data, but they haven't for a while. And people have been wondering why. But Universal pretty much kind of snitched on them because that's their partner. Universal owns a catalog, they own a tech company which streams the catalog. Universal says that it's no longer reliable to think that there is more people that aren't on streaming currently that would pay for streaming currently that they could add to increase revenue. Now, I didn't finish about how people get paid. So that $15 a month, let's say there's 100 million people paying $15 a month. What's that? If it's 100 million, yo, my math be like crazy sometimes. That'll be $1.5 billion, right? So you have 100 million people paying $15 a month. It's $1.5 billion. And the way how it works is that they just kind of do it like it's math. Right? It's like, hey, depending on the amount, they break it down via time, right? So, okay, the amount of time, if we're going to split up your $15, where does it go to in your listening, right? So if you listen to old Drake, they kind of almost do it in that way where, okay, we're going to put the majority of what you paid as a subscription to pay to his label, if that makes sense. If you only listen to Yeet, they're going to put the majority. So they do it on a very tiny way. And obviously these are computers doing it. And then they get these payouts to the labels for these artists. Okay. Now it's way more complicated than that. I'm trying to make it simplified. So I know people be hitting me like, accurate, not being all the way correct. I'm trying to keep it simple for some people who might not know. All right. Cool. So that's kind of how money's getting paid out. Every artist wants to get, these labels want to get paid more and more, and these artists want to get paid more and more, right? So finally, Universal Music Group comes out and say, yo, we don't think we can't forecast that the streaming companies are going to still be able to keep adding new subscribers, which would mean new money. So now this is where it's going to change. They're about to then look at the current. So again, it's reached a saturation point. They're acknowledging that basically, in layman's terms, nigga, if you was going to sign up for streaming, you already did. If you didn't, you probably never will. That's kind of what they're saying, right? They're saying we got all the people that were down to get on with streaming already signed up. The people that ain't signed up, they still gonna use their brother account, their bitch account, their nigga account, whatever account, but they're not never gonna get an account for themselves. So then what usually happens, and there's two ways because they still want to gain more money. How do you gain more money if you can't gain more people? And that's the only thing in selling. It's two things. You either got to up the price or you got to start offering new products to those existing people that they could pay more. And this is where the music industry is about to try to figure out some new shit in the next couple of years, because if they can't get more people to listen, they're going to now, and I've seen a lot of people kind of throw around some theories, and I've heard some theories. They're thinking about doing, live streaming concerts within Apple. Well, they already do, but they want to almost kind of create like a Netflix concert-like experience that you could see on Spotify. If you're like one of the super fans of a particular artist, you could go to a virtual tour. Obviously, they have merch already built into at least Spotify. But they're trying to get more revenue to get people to pay more. The second thing they're trying to do is that some of these streaming services, they'll offer an ad-based tier, which means you don't pay really. But when you listen to a bunch of music, essentially you hear an ad. So you'll hear like 3 ads and then they'll play your song, right? And the ads are supposed to pay for the lack of subscription you didn't have because you didn't pay. You get what I'm saying? However, that's, just like that's why YouTube has the lowest payout. Ad-based stuff isn't as profitable as somebody putting down cold hard cash. So they want to get rid of that. And again, this is a super interesting time for the music industry to kind of figure out shit, because where this is headed to is another big fight. There's going to be another big fight coming between Universal Music Group, and when I'm saying Universal, I mean Sony probably as well. They're going to follow suit, and Warner, against the streaming services, because the labels always want more. That was the fight with TikTok. Give us more money. Give us more money. And TikTok's like, nigga, calm down. No. Give us more. All right, we ain't giving you more. All right, take our music off there. They argue for a little bit, and they come to some deal. Put it back on. You get what I mean? It's like a holdout if you like sports. So a fight is coming, because if Universal is acknowledging that revenue isn't ramping up as they would like based on new people that these tech companies are added to, or continue to add yearly to the streaming services as subscribers, they're going to just say, well, we need to revisit the splits. Maybe we just need to be an 80-20. I'm making it up. I don't know exactly what the splits are between Apple and UMG or Spotify and UMG. So anyway, this is one of those things that people are kind of monitoring behind the scenes. It's probably going to take place in the next year or two. We're going to see a fight. Just mark this video down. You're going to see a fight between UMG, who, by the way, I think people, as much as UMG is like the greediest label, but for the investors, that's good. Like, they're always trying to bully people. Like, they got the biggest catalog. At the end of the day, they could always say to the people who they're in business with, oh, word? All right, take off Taylor Swift, take Drake off, take this off, like take the Weeknd off. Like, they got the biggest artists in the world, right? And now granted, I do believe Taylor Swift is one of the people who made that TikTok thing happen. This is how crazy Taylor Swift is. Or not crazy, but like how big as an artist she is. She kind of reversed it on UMG to say, yo, y'all get back with TikTok immediately. Stop playing. So she couldn't be used as leverage, and of course they struck a deal. Anyway, just a little bit of music industry stuff that's coming down the pipeline. I'm watching this for the next year. We're gonna see. Okay, all right, my people. We are gonna get into the Pop Smoke killer situation. Except, I heard a little rumor. Man. Let me see do I have an update on that?